So a while back, I went to this theme park in San Diego, and it was amazing. It was near the beach, so when you went on this roller coaster, you could have an amazing view of the entire landscape around you. And the sun was like shining, blue sky. The food there was amazing. So many different rides that were like ranging from little kids' rides to rides that would make even adults scared. And I had a blast. I was with my dad. We were eating good food. There was this like rock climbing wall. It was overall a super fun day. And at one point, I remember I went to go get a drink because I was thirsty. And it was one of those water fountain ones where you just take a cup and then you just like put it underneath to get whatever Coke, Fanta, whatever you want. So I went there and I had my cup with me. I went to go get some Coke and I saw this girl next to me and she was around my age. And I thought, you know what? Might as well start the conversation. And I did. So I started talking to her and immediately, it was so easy to speak to her. She was just as excited as me to be there. And it was funny because I like how I still had my hand gesture as a cup while I'm speaking as if I'm actually holding something. Anyway, so she had been there 3 times beforehand. So she knew the entire lay of the land. And she was explaining to me the best rides, the best times to go and everything. And we were having a blast talking to each other. And afterwards, we left. I didn't get her name, but I just called her Arizona girl because she was from Arizona. And I thought that was it. Never gonna see her again. So fast forward 10 minutes later, I'm sitting there with my fries, my drink in my hand, just enjoying life. Then, same girl, Arizona girl, walks right up to me and is like, "Hey Tondo, you wanna go ride with me?" And I'm taken aback by this, wait, what? And she's like, "Oh yeah, the squid ride, you mentioned that you hadn't ridden it yet, so you wanna go?" And it took me 5 seconds for my mind to process all of this, but when I had, I was like, 100%, let's go. And I got up, left my food. It's okay, my dad was pretty close by, so he would protect it, and went with her. So then we went on this ride with her, I can't remember if it was her little cousin or brother or whatever, but this other younger related family member. And we were, even though it was supposed to be a scary ride, we were chatting the entire time. And it was one of those rides where it shoots you up and then shoots you back down and moves up and down. And the entire time we were just chatting about whatever. I think it was about the states and how different states have different foods and it tastes a bit different, but I can't even remember. And afterwards, we said our goodbyes, we hugged and everything. I didn't get her number because obviously she lived in an entirely different continent to me. So there was no way I was gonna try to keep in touch. I'm not that desperate, guys. And yeah, even my dad was confused. He was like, "Tondo, what was that?" And I just had to shrug my shoulders, But it's only afterwards, thinking about it in retrospect, that all of that fun interaction only happened because I was willing to just start a small conversation with somebody. And it's something that us as introverts kind of look down on. Or I shouldn't even say us as introverts, just people in general, especially on the internet. There's this oh, it's pointless to talk to people outside in the modern day because everyone's on their phone. They're always chatting about whatever and they don't want to be bothered, But it's dog, talking to people around you is pretty much a win-win situation. Because of course it may not be that, you meet your best friend or the love of your life, but you can just have a fun conversation and maybe even a fun story, like with me. In fact, actually at that same amusement park, there was 4 other weird stories that happened, including these group of kids that were kind of racist, but also in a naive way, so I'm not sure how to feel about that. That's a story for another day. But overall, all of these things happened just because I was willing to open myself up and speak to people around me. And I wish I could just grab the people that cold approachy, as it's called nowadays, but really it's just being a human being and interacting with other human beings. It's not some sort of weird pickup artist thing or some sort of like manipulation tactic. It's just humans speaking to other humans. It's weird that in 2025, that's such a big like question mark that everybody has around them. And I know that as an introvert, something like this seems a bit difficult to do. I'll admit that the version of me from a few years ago probably would have been a bit too scared to initiate the conversation with the girl. And even if I had somehow done that, and we had gotten to the point later on where she offered to, not really offered, more like asked me to come with her, I probably would have been too scared and said, I'm good, sorry. That's exactly how I would have done it. So if you are more like a beginner at this, which is no problem whatsoever, then I recommend doing something called progressive overload. And with this, it's where you start small and incrementally you increase the weight, you could say. So for starters, let's say in week 1, every day you're gonna greet 3 people that you don't speak to. And it can be in your workplace, school, out in public, whatever. But it has to be people that you don't regularly speak to, because there's no issue in that if you already speak to them. So greeting 3 new people. And it can literally just be like a, hey. Or it could be something like, actually no, I think greeting, that's a good base to start. So greeting 3 people. Then the following week, you increase that to, let's say you ask hi, and then an innocent question. Do you know the time? Do you know where X is? Yeah, something like that. I think do you know the time is a good one. And then they'll probably just give it to you. Then you thank them and go on your way. Then, after doing that for like 3 people every day for a week, again, move up to now maybe a compliment, or actually maybe that's a bit too far. Maybe a question, and then like the one we talked about, like the time, then you say thank you, and then maybe you ask for like their name, or I don't know, if they're from around here, something simple and innocent that even if, let's say, they give you a 1-word answer, you've still progressed. And you keep on stacking this, stacking it constantly. And before you know it, in like a month, 2 months, you could be asking questions that you could never have dreamed of asking previously. And if you need help with this, I actually have an entire full guide that I've made talking all about this progressive overload, openers, everything. It's in the description down below. So if you want it, check it out. I think it'll be well worth your time. But overall, I think that pretty much sums up everything there is about the story of the Arizona girl. It's great. And she was also so nice, by the way. She was really nice. Anyway, remember, take action, learn from failure. See ya.